Let's talk about Stonewall.
So actually, I want to start by saying on Stonewall that, when I was a teenager who'd realised he was a gay man, I found Stonewall's charity efforts in security, historically, I guess, in securing and advancing equality for gay men and women to be thoroughly admirable. So I start from that position. For many years, I drank out of a red mug with "Some people are gay, get over it," which was Stonewall's most famous slogan.
Brilliant.
But I wouldn't be willing to support Stonewall's efforts these days. And you might think, well, come on, Darren. You can't have an issue with an organisation that's been at the forefront of the campaign for equality longer than I've been on the planet.
Yeah.
But it's the same argument. That argument there is the same argument that we heard in the summer with the Black Lives Matter movement, the protests, the basically engaging in wanton acts of criminality. But I rejected that movement, not the laudable slogan, that movement, and I now reject what Stonewall's come to stand for. Because, Mark, I think we've secured in this country, thanks be to God, we have secured in this country equality in law and in wider society for gay men and women. And I'm not sure there are any more battles in that sphere, in that equality battle, to fight. So like St. George in retirement, old St. George in retirement, they're swinging about their sword in the hope that one day they'll come across another dragon to slay and actually collect membership fees and subscriptions in the meantime. So putting aside my own views, there's actually a campaign against Stonewall at the moment. The Equality and Human Rights Commission have even come out and said that they're not going to renew their membership of Stonewall's diversity championship scheme. And one of the leading solicitors in that field, she's called Naomi Cunningham, she's argued that submitting to Stonewall isn't only extremely expensive for organisations, but also actually puts them at serious risk of moral and legal wrongdoing. And because that's the law, right? The law clearly states that under the Equality Act, and this is now Stonewall's position, this is now what they're campaigning for, a woman's basic rights, right, must be protected. And that means that things like access to single-sex spaces, you must have as a protected characteristic. And now your listeners at home will be thinking, well, come on. Surely an organisation like Stonewall can't disagree with that eminently sensible position, but they do. I'm afraid they do. Even their founders, like Matthew Parris, the former Tory MP, has come out and criticised that organisation. And the problem for me, Mark, is that when sex doesn't exist, when you argue that biological fact and truth doesn't matter anymore, and that Mark, if I wake up tomorrow and I decide that I want to be called Doreen instead of Darren, I can walk in to a sex-segregated space, a space for women. That, to me, is a palpable nonsense. It's a dangerous nonsense. And when sex doesn't exist, being gay doesn't exist. Being a woman doesn't exist. There's a reason that you talked earlier very sagely, very wisely about the social contract we have. We also have a social contract with our language. Woman means something. Biological woman. You were born a biological woman. Man, you were born a biological man. These things matter. Our words matter. Our beautiful English language matters. So I say to activists like Stonewall and the others, hands off our women, actually. So I am going to continue standing up for women, even though I'll be screamed at online for even these comments, Mark. I'll be called homophobic, transphobic, whatever. It's not. Of course, we should protect trans people in wider society and in legislation. But this goes far beyond that. This is dangerous for women and sex-segregated spaces. And I think I'm so delighted that people are coming out and condemning actually organisations like Stonewall.
Powerful words and from the heart. Darren, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on that. Darren Grimes is a fantastic broadcaster and commentator, and he is the star of a very popular channel on YouTube called Reasoned UK. Pop over there and check it out. There's some fantastic interviews that Darren has done.